Hello, and welcome to the Commissioner's Corner. I'm Fort Bend County Commissioner Grady Prestage. I've been doing this video newsletter for a number of years, and it's always tough to find new material. We eat, drink, and sleep this job, and we know everything about these jobs, but it's very hard sometimes to express them to the public. So we're going to change the format for this particular segment and have a little Q&A. I have one of my staff members, Ryan Dunsmore, who's going to ask me a few random questions, and we'll go from there. Ryan, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner, what were the highlights for 2024 in Fort Bend County Precinct 2?
Well, 2024 was a year of planning and preparation. We had a very successful 2023 Mobility and Parks bond election. And so 2024 ended up being a year where we started doing design and planning. We were acquiring right-of-way. We were working on intergovernmental relationships with the cities and the state and all of our governmental partners. And so, well, you don't see a lot of results, but no, this is a necessary part of making things happen. Things don't just pop up out of thin air without all the grunt work that goes in with it. And it's one of those situations that for every solution, there's a problem. For every solution, in fact, there are two problems, okay? And once you solve that, you know, and you can get these projects to a point where the public will see them. So 2024 was a year that we didn't have a lot of ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings. There were a few, but a lot of things happened behind the scenes to make sure that in 2025, you'll see some of these things come up out of the ground.
And what have statewide and national events affected what's happening locally?
Well, we had a national election, and so the whole country was engaged in that, and we had a local election too, and it's affected by what happens on the national level. But generally, the national level doesn't really affect us much. There are some things that the federal policy and federal funding had that we had to deal with. One was the closeout of the ARPA funding. ARPA was the American Rescue Plan Act, and it provided Fort Bend County in two different occasions $134 million in funding, and then later on in 2020, $156 million in funding to do things to help us weather the ill effects of the pandemic. And so a lot of programs that we wouldn't normally be able to fund with local dollars, we were able to do with those federal dollars. And they were one-time dollars, so we had to make sure that we got some kind of lasting benefit out of it. And so that was something that has federal implications, but we've closed out that project, and that money is gone. It's been put to use, and I think we did a good job, a meaningful job in utilizing it. We have relationships with some of our state partners, particularly TxDOT. So we have a lot of projects that we're working with TxDOT on, and so with TxDOT, when money from TxDOT is used on a project, it's typically considered just like federal funds. The way TxDOT is funded, in a lot of cases, it's the gas tax that's collected at the pump and sent to Washington, and then Washington sends it back, and it comes back as federal dollars. So you have to go through a federal process to spend it properly, and sometimes that's a challenge. One other thing that we were affected by state is the state-imposed revenue cap. We're probably in year 4 or 5 right now with the revenue cap, where our budget cannot exceed 3.5% per year. And sometimes in a high-growth county, that's tough because there's a higher demand for services and it costs more money. So it makes us have to be a little more creative and efficient in how we spend our money. And it's a challenge, but it's one that we've met.
What is your goals and objectives for 2025?
Well, I want to finish what we started. So we have a great deal of projects. I mean, we have, I'll reel off a few of them. One is the expansion of the Fort Bend Parkway Toll Road. It'll take a couple of years, and the design and the preliminary stuff is underway, but pretty soon you'll have a major extension of the toll road from where it ends in Sienna Plantation area all the way to Highway 36 and Spur 10. That'll open up tens of thousands of acres of development in West Fort Bend County. So I'm excited about that, and I'm really involved with that. I spent a lot of time working on the redevelopment of Old Fresno. It's a big deal for me, and so there are road projects and drainage projects, there are park projects, there are law enforcement initiatives, there are business development initiatives, there are public health initiatives that we're working on, all part of our 10-point plan to redevelop Fresno. 2025 is going to be a year where we implement a lot of those things, and you'll see a number of groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings for the Fresno redevelopment. We have a number of projects that were funded in the Parks Bond project that will start to come to fruition. Kitty Hollow Park expansion and redevelopment, Blue Ridge Park expansion and redevelopment, a big development at the Mustang Park where we're putting in a big new community center, a natatorium, an indoor pool, a gymnasium, and expansion of the existing building to house a lot of other programs. One thing that the voters approved that I'm excited about is an event center. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people call me and ask me about places to have things. And we have a few community centers, but there'll be an event center in the Sienna campus where we have the library and the Sienna Annex. Where there'll be an event center where you can host small banquets or larger banquets, really, and a whole host of events. That's one thing that the public's been asking for, and we're going to deliver that with construction starting in 2025. We have a number of community centers that I'm excited about. One in Needville, the Barbara Jordan Community Center. We have a senior center similar to the Pinnacle Center that's going to be built in the Rosenberg area, and I'm excited about that. So you'll see a number of projects start in 2025 that were funded or approved in 2023, planned for in 2024. Construction starts in 2025. Some may complete, may be completed, but others will be 2026 before the public can actually utilize it.
And how can the public get involved in making local government better?
Well, everybody can do their part. One thing is communicate with us and try to be a sponge for information. An informed public is good from an elected official standpoint. Folks know and understand what's going on, and they can make judgments and give you guidance to make sure you make better decisions. I think that if we continue this sense of volunteerism that was started during the pandemic, I mean, I saw people come out and help their fellow man so much during the pandemic, and it's kind of carried over. I think it's good. Young people, surprisingly, I haven't had a conversation with a young person who hadn't wanted to do something to give back. So many want to do nonprofits, who want to help the community in so many ways, and it's really refreshing to see that. They're not just selfish and worried about themselves. They really want to give back and do things. We got to continue that on all levels, not only our young adults, but those of us who are working and those who might be in the twilight of our careers, to really try to pay attention to your community and give back. I think you would get a better work product that way, and it can always be involved in your community.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your time.
Well, thank you for the interview. That's it for this edition of the Commissioner's Corner. We'll see you next time.